Hello, hello, and welcome to Media Queen TV. We have the amazing Tim Wagner with us all the way from South Africa. And we know in South Africa sometimes the power cuts out. Hopefully we'll be right for the duration of this show. And we're going to chat today about bridging the gap to live the life of your dreams. So a little bit about Tim before we start chatting with him about this very hot topic. Tim is a transformational coach and breathwork guide. He's a dynamic speaker, a coach, and mentor of over 16 years. He specializes in personal development, guiding entrepreneurs and teams to uncover their true purpose from a stress and anxiety-free state. Through his signature professional pointer program and breathwork exercises, he empowers you to become consciously connected to your breathing for stress release as the primary starting point on the path to personal and business success. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you very much, Aldwyn. Absolute pleasure to be here. Really appreciate the time and going to share some what I hope will be and know will be inspiring and interesting messages.
Yes, fantastic. Well, I must say, I love your breathwork sessions. I've done a few of them now, and every time they have been absolutely fantastic and so relaxing. And I know I've certainly been someone who's had a lot of anxiety through my life and a lot of stress, having worked in the media for over 30 years or being involved in one way or another. And it can be a very high pressure. It can be, there's a lot of deadlines or time frames, and it's often go, go, go. And what I've found over time is that for a lot of people, it seems to be that is just a way of life now, that it seems to be getting busier, things are speeding up, and there seems to be a lot more stress and anxiety out there. So what have you noticed with your 16 years or so of doing this? Have you noticed much the same as well?
Most definitely. Not only from a personal experience, coming from the corporate background. I was in hospitality for 27 years. And now I'm on this side of the path, so to say, outside of corporate, working on my own, working for myself, and just seeing a completely different dynamic. But especially it's been amplified in the last 3 to 4 years, ever since the COVID chaos. And now with a different dynamic of business and people learning to transition into a new way of doing business, the hybrid work environment where you've now got the combination of work and home in one is not allowing people that space to release some of what they're carrying at work before they get home, or release the home stuff before they get to work, because it's now one. So there's a whole new dynamic, and it's most definitely, in fact, the World Health Organization is talking about burnout, which is that ultimate low point. Once you've gone stress, anxiety, burnout, they're actually calling it a pandemic. And it's not often that I'll agree with the World Health Organization, but in this time, I actually will. So yeah, whether you're in broadcasting, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're in hospitality, building industry, it doesn't matter. We are living in such a high-paced, fast, stressful environment. We don't know how to deal with it. Can knock us for 6, and it's happening a lot. Yeah.
And a lot of people are not conscious to how they actually breathe in life. We often chest breathe, don't we, rather than coming from the diaphragm. Whereas when we were born as babies, we just breathed naturally from the diaphragm. So what happened?
Well, what happened. That's a very, very good point. I started a couple of talks called the Breath Operating System Manual, because we're not taught how to breathe. And I love it that you're speaking about a baby. If people want to learn, well, how do I breathe most effectively? Watch your baby breathe. They are breathing in the correct state, mouth closed, breathing through the nose, and they breathe in and out the belly. If you think about watching a baby sleeping, you want to know that it's breathing and it's got a healthy breath because the belly moves. But as adults, we don't breathe like that. And you're 100% correct. That's called the sympathetic nervous system, where we're breathing in our chest. Fear, fight, flight. And that is a sign of stress and anxiety. And over 90% of the world's population at some point in their day are breathing from this state in a stressed place. And that's where the big challenge then starts.
Yeah, and it's almost like we need to now relearn how to breathe from the diaphragm again. And I kind of think, gosh, what happened? When did we go from naturally diaphragm breathing to chest breathing? When did that happen? Maybe in childhood at some point. I don't know. Is it when people have their first fight flight experience that happens?
I'm not sure when it actually would start. But the mere fact that we're not taught how to breathe. Now, it's a little bit different in some Western cultures. I was chatting to some gents in India about a month ago, and they were saying how they were actually taught to breathe as children. They said it's not the same now, but in the Western world, in the Americas and in Africa, we're not taught how to breathe. It should be something that you're taught at school, being the fact that your breath is the only natural mechanism in our body that we have control over. If you look at your entire nervous system, if you look at your entire state of your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your body temperature, your cell development, you can't control any of that. But you can control your breathing. Your breathing is the control mechanism to how your entire body operates. If we were taught this at school, we perhaps would be a lot healthier, less stressed society as a whole. And here's the thing, I never knew this. So this is a breath work as a part for stress release is only been in my environment for 1.5 years now. And it's been the most amazing journey of realization and understanding of how the importance of breathing is, that adding it within my coaching program to combine it is where the big change is coming. Because let me tell you a little bit of a backstory here. So
Sure.
When I was compiling what is now my professional pointer program, I was trying to work out what is the thing that I'm missing to help my clients on a long-term basis. So we all have a coach. At some point, you've had a coach in your life, whether the company brought a coach in to teach you some personal development, some skills, communication skills, or you've had a coach, your personal circumstances, yourself. The question is, how many people benefit long-term from the important information? And what I found was very few. So in asking the question, but why? What is it that's missing? How can I be more impactful for the long term? And when I was asking this message to universe, to the God, to laws of creation, whoever it is, an answer came to me and it was delivered, but I had no idea what it was and that it was the one I was looking for when I was introduced to transformational breath work. So my own personal experience became my lesson and realization that, have you ever had that light bulb moment? That thing where something happened or somebody said something and you thought, aha, that's the answer I've been looking for. You had one of those. That's exactly what this breathwork session was for me, where I realized that we're all operating in such a high stressed state. Here comes Tim. And he gives all this new information, which is valuable. You like it. It's insightful. You feel it. It's good. It's essential. You can understand how it'll take you from who you are now to who you want to be, which is that gap which we speak about. And then nothing happens. It's sort of, and this is my analogy, and I came across this this idea when I was talking to a prospective client. They were saying, but why does it not happen? I said, well, Aldwyn, have you got a cupboard in your house or that drawer in your kitchen which is full of stuff?
Yes, a few of those actually. Yes,
It's that widget, that thing that you don't know really how useful it is, but you think, I can't throw it away just in case I need it. So you stick it in the cupboard, right?
Yes.
And that's that thing that you're sticking in the cupboard is a habit, an old habit, maybe something that no longer serves you, but it's you, it's your identity, you're owning it. It could even be stress. When I was in corporate, I identified myself as a stressful person. It became an identity. So I was storing this in my cupboard, which is the 6 inches between my ears, but it wasn't serving me. So when you've got this valuable product, this valuable thing that you think, right, I need to keep this. You open the cupboard to put it in there, but it's full. It's full of all this crap, this history, this nonsense, this stuff, these habits which don't serve you, stresses and anxieties and traumas from years ago, which we carry. So when you have new valuable information and you think, I want to move forward into the next chapter of my life, to develop into the person that I would dearly love to become, the best version of me, there's no room. Our conscious minds are so active with all this day-to-day, often nonsense, that we can't create a new version of our personal reality because there's no room to develop that new personality. And that's from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love that saying of his. So what the breath work does is it allows us to get into the really deep into theta brainwave state, which is the subconscious mind, where you're going from the beta to alpha to theta. And in that state, in that peaceful environment that you go into, it allows our body to release the stresses and the trauma, anxiety, which is held by energy. Our bodies store energy, not memory, right? Our brain's got the memory, but our body stores the energy. And we store this energy from anxiety or traumas inside our bodies. And because we're working and living and operate in a consistent, stressful environment, we don't allow our bodies to release this. We don't sleep properly. We don't sleep deeply enough, which is the healing time of our day. And so we carry it around. Correct breath work allows the release of this. So then that cupboard gets cleaned out, giving you space to now take on new habits, to have a new way of thinking and really start to absorb it in order for it to become part of your day. That's what I really find so impactful about this style of stress or anxiety release, I suppose you can call it, which is what you've experienced yourself.
And your breath work is very different to other breath work I've done in the past. I've done a bit of DMT breath work before, which is where you breathe in very deeply through the mouth and the nose, and out through the mouth and the nose. You hold it and breathe out, breathe in and out. I've done a few of those, which can take, you can sort of get heightened levels of consciousness and, enter fifth dimensions and, enter other realms. So I've had that kind of breath work. So it's very, very different kinds. Yours was really very much like a journey with the music, and it was, and actually the DMT breath, it was a journey too, but, you have your own unique style, I think, with what you do. So how would you describe your kind of breath work?
Everybody has a different experience if they were to describe it, whether yours was peaceful and relaxing and you felt that there was a tension that was released from your shoulders. Other people have a high euphoric state. They go down so deeply into the theta brainwaves. They see visions. You had a bit of a vision with a beautiful, I remember you described it with a logo that you envisaged. I've had an artist, and I didn't know he was an artist, a client of mine, who had been, what's the word I'm looking for, where somebody had contracted him to paint a piece of art. There's a word I'm missing. Anyway,
he was contracted.
He was struggling to actually get this piece of artwork done. During his journey, he saw the completely finished one. So he saw the entire picture, and all he said to me was, I need to go and pick up my brush because I've seen what I couldn't see. What happens is, often in that example, a block which is there, typically it's really in your subconscious, there's a block stopping you from being able to see what the solution to a challenge or a problem. And it could be for one of many reasons. It doesn't matter why, as long as we're in an environment which can release it. And when it releases, then you see things clearer. You have more clarity. You can have a far more euphoric experience, or even spiritual experience, because it can become extremely spiritual in itself.
And yes, I just heard the dogs barking there. Hopefully everything's all right in the background. And this happens with live streams, right? It happens. Sometimes
work from home. What can you do?
Yes, that could be that kind of thing. And I mean, what happens if you're in a breath work and suddenly the dog starts barking or there's background noise? I mean, it's really, I guess, a discipline, isn't it, to keep focused on your breath and to, we have a lot of monkey chatter that goes on in the mind. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for people when they do breath work, is actually to silence all that monkey chatter. Have you got any tips on that for people?
Well, that monkey mind is often the ego trying to just protect you. The ego just wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you cocooned, and wants to keep you just in this environment. This is what you know, stay there. As soon as you try and go outside of it and introduce something new, that's when that chit-chatter is going to tell you, you're stupid. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? What are you doing? Don't be daft. You're crazy. Stay where you are. You're fine. It's just that conditioned chit-chatter. And what happens in this style of breathing, which is a deeply holotropic breathing, it's a belly chest breathing to really get full of oxygen, is the state of breathing or the style. What actually happens is it starves that prefrontal cortex of oxygen, which is where the monkey mind is. So you're breathing deep. It's a little bit counterintuitive, a bit unusual. You're breathing deeply, but that deep breathing starves that part of your brain of oxygen, which then makes it go to sleep and quietens down. I had a client a few months ago who said to me, I don't have a monkey. I've got a hamster that runs around on the wheel all the time. And she said, Tim, you put my hamster to sleep. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow, it's amazing. And the music you use is really powerful too. I love the music that you use. And you do quite a few different styles too, don't you? So can you explain a bit more about that, about the different styles of breathwork that you do over a series? I know you've got a 4-week series coming up, and what happens in those journeys.
So when you're actually in what I term the journey, the 45-minute deep breathing, it's an hour in total of lying down, very meditative, very calming. You're in control. Some people think, are you hypnotizing me? Not at all. You know exactly what's going on at all times, and you're in control. It's over Zoom as well. You're lying down in the comfort of your own home. It's a combination of that music and NLP language, neuro-linguistic programming. In other words, it's the words that I use, which then allows the access to the subconscious mind to help you release those traumas, anxieties. And often you don't even know what they are, but you feel a release in one of many different ways. The music, music is such an emotional thing. When you have the right song with the right style and the right beat and the right rhythm and the right wording, it can start to resonate with you on a deeper level. And that's where the music comes in. So each of the journeys is a build up from a calm base, and then it builds to it builds the pace. I build my pace of language, the pace that I'm speaking, the intensity of it, so that you are building it up inside to what's then called a release, which is that deep sigh, that scream, just letting it out. And that's the pace of the music. And then you bring it down afterwards. So then you're building yourself up. It's sort of, if you've ever had that experience where somebody's just frustrating you so much that you just want to scream, you want to throttle them, but you don't, because you think, I've got to keep my composure. And so you suck it down. But all you're doing is you're blocking that tension inside your body, which is very, very unhealthy for us. So the release is about getting that out. It's in a safe environment, releasing it, getting it out. And then afterwards, you come down for a restful state and a calming, because now you're releasing and you've got rid of that tension, trauma, anxiety, which is running around inside ourselves. So that's where the music comes in. But it's very specifically selected that the music often does more work than I do because of the wording and because of the beats. So yes, there's 4 different themes. There's multiple different ones. I just focus here because I'm primarily focusing on stress and anxiety release and reprogramming of the subconscious mind for business people. That's my niche, the area that I mostly focus on. So there's 4 different themes that you have, ranging between stress and anxiety, or called the purge, which is about release of something that's deep inside. Could be a traumatic experience, the loss of a loved one, loss of business, which is hugely traumatic. So you have stress and anxiety, you have purge, you have reprogramming of the subconscious mind, and the 4th one, I can't remember what it is just now. But each one is just a theme. It really doesn't matter on theming, because each experience that you have is unique in itself. As you would have experienced now, you've done 2 of them, I believe. So it just is a matter of what your body is ready to do at that specific time. Sort of like that onion. You're an onion, different layers. And the more that you apply a practice, be it breath work, be it meditation, DMT, transformational breath work, it's the consistent application of it that is essential for you to start finding true release, calmness, whatever it is that you're looking for. There's no get well quick scheme. You need to consistently get it. And that's important.
Yes. Like going to the gym. You don't just go once and suddenly you're fit and, toned. You need to keep it up. And what I've found over the years of doing breath work is that it's become easier and easier for me every time I've done it, actually building that practice up. And it's been easier for me to drop in and to let the monkey chatter go and just drop into my body. And it is quite an art form. And I can imagine for a lot of people it would be challenging initially, particularly if you've got very busy minds. However, trust the process. It is a safe place to do it. And you do ensure we leave the camera on when we are doing it at home on Zoom so that you can see what we're doing.
I can talk to you. It's not essential, but it does help. It has helped me and it can help you. But in the end, it's a very safe. It's breath work in itself is deemed one of the safest healing modalities or stress reducing modalities that you can find. And there's been tens of thousands of people studied going through it. So the only two times that I would say for the style of breathing that I do that you wouldn't do it. One is if you're pregnant, because the deep breathing, it can induce labor. It has been known, very rare, but that's rather an experience that I would not want to go through or take a lady through. So pregnancy, or if you've had recent surgery. The reason for the surgery is a release can mean a physical release. So your hands may move around, your feet can move because your body just wants to relax and get rid of the tension. And if you had surgery, then you wouldn't do it. Otherwise, it's a very, very safe modality and extremely, extremely powerful as well.
So if you haven't done it, my friends watching this right now, I recommend that you do and reach out to Tim because he has got some classes coming up as well. So different times to different time zones. And of course, today's topic is bridging the gap to live the life of your dreams. And of course, to do that, it's important to keep breathing, right? Keep breathing. And the quality of that breath, what I found very interesting is when you actually breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, it's a very different quality of breath as opposed to breathing in and out of the mouth. So can you explain a little bit about that for those who are not aware of just that alone?
Well, let's talk about that from just your day-to-day, just managing yourself on a day-to-day basis. When let me give an example here to really drive it home. You're standing on the side of a curb and you're just about to cross the road. And you look left and right, you don't see anything. But as you put your foot out over the curb, this car comes speeding past. You jump back. You're now activating instantly. Your body activates the sympathetic nervous system, fear, fight, flight, jump back. Your stress hormones get released, cortisol and adrenaline go pumping through your body because now you're in, I need to save myself. There's fear. There's something happening here. So in that moment, does your heart beat faster or slower?
Faster.
Faster. Does your blood pressure go up or does it go down?
Up.
It goes up. Do you breathe faster or slower?
Faster.
Faster. Are you breathing through your mouth or your nose?
Mouth.
Yeah, your mouth. Correct. Do you breathe from your chest or your belly?
Your chest.
Chest. That's the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, which was very valuable when we were running away from lions and tigers thousands of years ago. Because after that threat was gone, you relaxed. After the car's gone and you've stepped back and you've realized that you're no longer in danger, you relax, you calm. So then your body will come down to homeostasis. Your blood pressure will drop, your heartbeat will slow down, your tension will be gone, and you'll typically close your mouth and start breathing through your nose. But here's the problem with our society, which we've spoken about already, being high-stressed, high-strung, all this information, this media, this social media, the boss, the kids, the family, the economy, the government, all of it. We're remaining in this stressed state on a permanent basis. And this is where dis-ease results because our bodies are not designed for that. We weren't built like that. That's where breathing or meditation practices comes in as such an important thing. Yoga, Pilates, walking on the beach, getting out in nature to slow that down. So let's get back to the breathing. And the reason why I painted that example for you is that we are a world of chronic overbreathers, breathing through our mouth. Because when you're stressed, you breathe through your mouth, not your nose. So the quickest way, and I've got a keynote talk that I do, which is entitled, well, the subtitle of it is Shut Your Mouth for Total Well-Being, Health and Well-Being. So if somebody ever says to you, shut your mouth, go, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're looking after my best health interest. You're helping me. The quickest way to calm yourself is to breathe through your nose. When you're breathing through your mouth, you breathe into your chest. When you breathe through your nose, you breathe into your belly. Chest, fear, fight, flight. Belly, rest and digest. So that's where the big difference comes into it. Now, if you're doing a specific breathing practice, there's a reason why, depending on which one it is, you'll breathe through your nose or your mouth or both, in through your mouth, out through your nose. But on a day-to-day basis, you need to be breathing through your nose. There's massive benefits for nasal breathing over mouth breathing, huge benefits. And there's only recently in the last few decades, that it's become understood the impact or power of breathing through your nose versus breathing through your mouth. There's actually a book written in 1903 by a yogi. And he says, one sentence, he says, absolutely great. He said, you don't eat through your nose, so why do you breathe through your mouth? They're designed for different things.
Yes. And it's a bit deceiving because you think, well, your mouth is bigger, so you let in more air if you breathe in through the mouth, right? However, when you go through the nose, it's actually filtered breath, right?
Yep. Not only is it filtered breath, but it also creates what's called nasal nitric oxide. And you need nasal nitric oxide within your lungs in order for a better absorption of oxygen into your bloodstream. Just like you need CO2 for having a better absorption of oxygen into your bloodstream. Now, when you're breathing through your mouth and you're breathing through the top half of your lungs broken into three sections, top, middle, and bottom. When you breathe through your mouth, fear, fight, flight, you're breathing through the top half. When you're breathing through your nose, like I said, the bottom half. Now, your bottom half of your lungs has a 7 times better absorption of oxygen into your bloodstream than the top. Now, this I found fascinating. So here's a little story of my own for you. In my study of learning how to breathe more effectively, what I call a conscious connected breather, I came across research. I was busy training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa. I haven't got there yet, but I'm on my way there. I will get there. And in learning, in order to prepare my body for less oxygen at the higher levels, I learned that I need to start practicing to exercise breathing through my nose only. So I've started to do a lot of running. One of my goals this year is to become a triathlete. So I started with running. And right from the beginning in starting my training, I only ever breathe through my nose, never through my mouth, because of the massive benefits. It took me about 3 to 4 months in order to train myself that I only breathe through my nose. I've done now multiple half marathons. I've done a full marathon, breathing only through my nose. And the benefit is huge if you can get to that point. Because exactly as you said, we breathe through our mouth because we think you get more oxygen, you get more air in, but your body doesn't absorb more oxygen. Breathing through your nose, it does. It also keeps you in a calmer state for a longer period of time. So there's huge benefits for breathing through your nose. So anybody finding themselves in a stressful environment or stressed, shut your mouth. It's the quickest way to get yourself to actually slow down.
Oh, I love it. It's fascinating. And of course, with the title that we have of this show, Bridging the Gap to Live the Life of Your Dream. Now GAP does stand for something, doesn't it? Could you share a bit of that?
So my entire program, the Professional Pointer program, is built about helping people, and this came from my own personal experience of my own journey that I went through, is to identify who you are, not what, who you are now, and who you would like to become. And that's the beginning point of the journey. Is often we don't know who we are as a person, not who society has told us, or the programming, or teachers, or parents, or government, or siblings, or friends. This is who you are. You are a teacher. You are a broadcaster. You are this. You are that. That's your profession. That's what you do. And we identify ourselves with it. But that's not necessarily who you are. So we break this down. Once you know who you are, then we can start working out, well, who would you like to become? Not what, whom. Once you identify these two people, it then causes a gap. The gap stands for goal activation plan, because here's the strategy. Now, what do you need to do to go from who you are to who you want to be? Well, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan to get to this goal. And that's the gap, the goal activation. That's the goal activation plan that we need to put into place. So this is what I help my clients work through. Where breath work came into it is, as I said already, that people were struggling to really get deep down into finding out who they are, and then maintaining the practice to take on the new habits, release old habits. So let's give a basic example. I've just said that one of my personal goals this year is to become a triathlete. So last year I said, who am I? Well, I'm a 51-year-old, fairly unfit guy. I want to become a triathlete. Who do I want to become? I want to become a triathlete. I can then identify with a triathlete. Now, if I've got a name of a triathlete, that helps. I don't, but I got a triathlete. Okay, so what does a triathlete know that I don't know? How does a triathlete think that I don't think? What does a triathlete eat? How does a triathlete train? On the bad winter's days when it's windy and raining and cold outside, and I go, oh, I really don't want to get out of bed, I then look and go, but what would a triathlete do in this circumstance? Okay, a triathlete will get out and train anyway. I get up and train because I identify myself with a triathlete. So then I can make sure that this plan remains in place because I'm identifying with this. And where the breath work comes in, it helps me to release that old trauma or that old way of thinking, those old habits, which are not going to serve me being a triathlete. That's just a very basic example. You can apply this to anything in your life. Myself as a professional speaker, who am I as a speaker? Who would I like to become? Who can I mirror myself against? And that creates this goal activation plan. And that's the gap. Who do you want to become? How are you now going to get there? What are those habits, strategies, and things that you need to put into place?
Amazing. And how long do you work with clients with this GAP program? How long does it
Minimum
take?
3 months. Minimum 3 months. The first month is the most intense. There's a lot of personal introspective analysis that I guide a client through, and with the combination of the breath work. So at the beginning, there's a lot involved there. Then the next 2 months, minimum, ideally 6 is an ideal, because then you've got real ingrained habits. You see, I'm the guide. It's like being out at sea and it's cloudy, so you can't see the stars. You don't have a compass, so you don't know which direction you're going, and there's no wind. You're a little bit out there lost. You know that you are the captain of your own ship. So if you're a business owner or a professional, you know you're the one who's meant to find the direction, but there's no wind. You don't know where to get the wind from. You're not sure of who to speak to, who to trust, who can you go to that's accountable that can help you there. So that's where I come in as your accountability partner, as your first mate, and work with you to help you put the wind back in your sails, breath work, design your compass so that you know which direction you're going, and also then how to change the sails to catch the wind so you know when to speed up, you know when to slow down, and also, and this was a key point for me, how to prepare yourself for the bad weather that will come, the challenges, the obstacles, the hurdles. When you're prepared for them and you're aware of them, you're then able to look at them as signs. It's all just a sign. Stress is a sign. Anxiety is a sign. It's a sign that something is going wrong. Stop, analyze, change direction. And if you don't look at the sign and you try and go through it in work, We call it burnout. And I've been there. I've been there. So
Yes. And burnout is very common, I have found. Burnout and in the media, I mean, it's a 5-year burnout with journalists in general. And a lot of journalists actually I worked with back in the day, a lot of them actually died in their early 60s, from the stress of their work. And the thing is, often people are so close to what they do, they don't see what they do. They don't see the stress state they're in because they've just come to know life that way. And so half the thing is actually just, getting some awareness around that. And then looking at, okay, what do you want and how can you bridge that gap? And so I think that's wonderful that you help people with that. And when you're looking at bridging the gap, is this in all areas of life you look at?
Well, I work on the person, not on the business. I'm
Okay.
not a business coach and I'm not a personal coach. I'm a guide, but I work on the person. And the reason for me doing this is I've seen too often that very good businesses collapse, not because there's anything wrong with the business, but the entrepreneur or business owner running it is not attuned to it. They don't have the same values. So this is where I start, is identifying what are your values and what is your purpose, your true purpose. As I've said, not the one that we've been indoctrinated or taught to or told. What is your true purpose? So I work on the person in helping the person be ready for the right business. If you've got a great business, but you're not the right fit for it, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to get synchronicity. It will fail. So it's identifying and helping the person work out who they are, their values and their purpose, and then the business model, which is ideal for them. If they want to become an entrepreneur, or if you're in corporates, it's having a look and making sure that those executives have the same values internally, not up here, in here. It's different. You react differently. It's not in this, for the C-suite guys, it's about what they have inside here. Because at some point when the stress and anxiety is too much, the intellect doesn't operate as well. So then it becomes an emotional thing. And if there isn't an attunement and a combination with their true values and the business values, that's when you get problems and failure. And burnout is a massive thing. This is where October has now been identified as Mental Wellness Month by the World Health Organization, 10th of October. So I've done quite a few talks on burnout in the workplace. And one of the statistics, and it's just an average, is that 23% of all people who experience consistent anxiety leading to burnout, 23% end up in hospital. And that's the issue. Exactly what you're speaking about. You end up by dying way before your time because our bodies are not able to handle this consistent burnout. And I know this. I've hit burnout, which is what made me leave my final job in hospitality. But exactly what you said, Aldwyn, people don't understand or know how to recognize it. I did not know in 2018 that I was on the verge of burnout. I didn't have a label. My boss, my MD, who I went to speak about this, also didn't know how to recognize it. And it ended up by being a rather unpleasant explosion. Let's just put it that way. And where then I walked out the job because it was just way too much. I was going to die, I was going to kill somebody, or I was going to get divorced. And I looked at those three and I said, this is not acceptable. The money is not worth it for the job. I'm out. But I didn't have a label. I couldn't connect with it. And that's where now I love going to corporates and people in entrepreneurial places or executives to helping them identify, not only in themselves, but their teams, stress, anxiety, burnout, so that then you can help, because it's a real pandemic. It is.
Absolutely. And we've seen through COVID, we've had 4 times the suicide rates worldwide because of the amount of depression and stress, etc., from just what was happening with COVID. Whether we believe, what we heard in the mainstream media or not, it was still, a lot of people were getting sick and a lot of people were dying unexpectedly. A lot of cardiac arrest, was happening through that whole period. And it was very stressful. And people don't like to be locked down. They don't like to be socially distanced. They don't like to wear masks. And all these mandates were coming in and, people felt very trapped with that. And I think, this is the thing, when people don't feel a sense of freedom, that can definitely wear down on your mental state. And, I always say, hurt people hurt people. And a lot of people were hurting and didn't realize they were hurting, and they weren't loving their lives. And of course, that then the ripple effect of that on the families, on the communities, it goes the whole way. And I think now things have come down a bit with COVID. I think people are now really valuing their health a lot more. And what we've seen here in Australia, we've seen a lot of people from Melbourne, Sydney, where they had quite heavy lockdowns, particularly in Melbourne, have now moved up to Queensland. They've moved up here for the lifestyle. We've had an influx of people, packing up from down south and coming north where there's better weather. It's a sunshine state. We have beautiful beaches and all that kind of thing. And a lot more people are now focused on this. A lot more people are wanting to have a better quality of life, because I think they realize the fragility of life. And when we talk about having the life of your dreams, well, firstly, what is the life of your dreams? And actually getting really clear on that. I think for a lot of people, they don't know what that is. So what do you say to people if they're really stuck with that? They, maybe don't know what their dream life looks like.
Most people, when I ask them what their dream life is, they don't know the answer. But predominantly out of fear, because over the years, it's been beaten out of you to dream. Stop dreaming at school. Stop dreaming. Focus. I was the guy looking out the window. Report card. Timothy needs to concentrate more. I didn't want to concentrate. It was going in here. It was boring. I want to be out there. So it's beaten down. It's beaten out of us. And we've learned over years to stop dreaming, because now we're never going to get it. So what's the point? So when I sit with a client, a big part of my program is identifying your why. What is your deep-seated reason why you do what you do, or why you want to change? That is and again, it's getting really down into the subconscious mind, the true deep-seated why. Most people say, ask them, why do you do what you do? I need money. That's the typical answer. But why do you need money? I've got a family to take care of. So why is it so important to take care of your family? And you want to break this down into the most simplistic manner, so that the person owns it inside, and it's an emotional thing, not an intellectual thing. When you're thinking about your dreams or goals, we always think intellectually. Holidays, car, nice house, schools for the kid, university for the kid, medical aid, intellectual stuff. But what's the real reason why you drive and what you do? What's your real dream? And I think exactly what you've said, a lot of people are coming to ask themselves these questions. Before the whole pandemic lockdown, they were chasing the money. It was the corporate role. It was the job. I was there. I sold my soul to the devil for 7.5 years. I chased the money. It nearly put me in the grave, or I nearly lost the family through divorce, but I virtually lost my son all his teenage years. I wasn't around. I was working. I was climbing that corporate ladder, like we all are. A lot of people have realized now that that rug was pulled out. As you said, some cities went massively into lockdown. In South Africa here, we weren't allowed to, you could walk outside. You weren't allowed to go on the beach. Well, what's wrong with the beach? No, can't go on the beach, banned. Stay on the path. So we'd all cram on the path like this. And the beach is open. Anyway, so I go down that path. That's crazy. So, but the realization and awakening to go, hang on a second, chasing the money is not giving me the lifestyle I actually want. So the question people are asking themselves now is, what lifestyle do I want? And so that's exactly what you're saying. And I've seen it in South Africa. Wife and I traveled extensively for 1.5 years just to get away from everything. And we saw the smaller communities, the smaller towns are a big attraction for the lifestyle, not necessarily the money. So there is most definitely a change worldwide. I've seen it in Italy as well. With this change, where it's the smaller villages and the communities where people are going to for the security, for the lifestyle change, for the nature, for being out. And it's not so much hunting that corporate promotion and salary. There's more to life. That's also part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And when you think, most people die by the age of 65. Well, a third of people die by the age of 65. I mean, that can come around very quickly, and I think the older you get to, the faster the years go. That's certainly what I've noticed. I mean, I can't believe I'm almost 50. It's insane.
And it's
My
November.
dad is,
It's November
I know.
tomorrow.
Exactly. We're at Halloween, November tomorrow. And my gosh, yeah. And in fact, Halloween brings back a lot of memories for me from my childhood. But anyway, we won't go there right now. But yes, it's interesting. It's Halloween today. And it's interesting what that symbolizes too. There's a lot of darkness around Halloween, and that can also cause a lot of stress for people too, and then, we're encouraging a lot of people to have a lot of sugar and have lollies. They go trick or treating and people give them lollies. And so it's this big push for sugar. And what does sugar do to the body?
We'll go down that route.
Yes.
Yeah. As soon as you start to look at the stresses and the causes of stressors in our environment, the news, you've been broadcasting for how many years? The news is a massive one of feeding that information to create. I don't watch the news. I haven't read a newspaper, watched news in, oh, goodness me, I can't, a decade, more than a decade. I'm not missing out on anything. But if I can't personally do anything about that, what's the point? I really don't need to know. If I can do something about it, I want to know, then I'll do. But otherwise, it's other stuff in my head that I don't have space for, and stresses and anxieties that I really don't want to adopt. And there is a move, I've seen it with more and more people realizing, let me just control. Isn't that what we should be doing? Isn't that where we find joy and happiness? In your own environment, what you're in control of. Focus there, focus now, focus here. Find joy and gratitude in what you have here and now in front of you, not what you don't or that you've got to get in future. And it's here and now that's the most important. In fact, the only time is now. There is no other time. Yeah, 3 years ago, I stopped wearing a watch. I've never been late for anything, but that constant, no, focus now. Take a breath now. Find joy now in this moment. Take a deep breath now in this moment. Then when you come across that stressful, anxious situation, you're not going to be going into it stressed. So it will be a lot easier to manage and handle. You'll be in a calmer way right in the beginning, just from simple activations of breaking a few old habits that don't serve you going forward. That's an important part of the personal discovery journey.
Yeah, absolutely. The present is a gift, right? The present is a gift. And, something I love to do is yoga. I love doing yoga. In fact, it is so good for my peace of mind. And yoga is a great way actually to connect to source. It's a very powerful thing, and it always feels very peaceful. And in fact, I was at a yoga class just on the weekend where the yoga teacher read the most beautiful poem, which I've shared on my Facebook, which people...
I read it. Amazing.
Yes, amazing. Oh my gosh. And I so resonated with it. And, it's it really is a practice to come back into the body and to appreciate the moment by moment, because that's really all there is to life, is moment by moment. And of course, it's important to have some goals and dreams, to have something to work towards, and at the same time be in the present moment while we're working towards, these goals. So it's a lot of people live in that, sort of anxiety and worrying too much about the future, stressing about the past they can't change. And so how can you be powerful in the present? That's really the question. And of course, breath work is a great way to go with that. And also having great mentors and having great people around you, I think, is really important as well. And being kind to yourself, loving yourself is another thing we weren't taught growing up, is to actually love ourselves. In fact, we were knocked in Sydney, where I grew up. We were knocked if we loved ourselves. People would put us down for that. And, we have this thing in Australia, they say the glass ceiling, it's all about rise to the middle here in Australia, rise to the middle. And I've noticed too, a lot of Hollywood, very dark, a lot of very dark movies. So be very careful what you watch, what you watch when it comes to movies. And, thank goodness now we have social media and we have a world of information at our fingertips. And there's so many comedies that we could just, if you want to shift your state, go onto YouTube or go onto one of the online video outlets and watch a comedy, watch your favorite comedian, and just feel the difference of how good you feel when you have a laugh. There's things like laughter yoga, so that's intentional practices to also help live the life of your dreams. Are you noticing, Tim, with people that you've worked with, is there a common theme there that people want generally when it comes to living the life of their dreams? Is there some sort of commonality you've noticed amongst the people you've worked with of the kinds of things they're wanting?
Peace and more happiness. Peace of mind, body, and soul. It doesn't have to necessarily be a spiritual one, but just more peace and then happiness, joy. Laughter in the moment. Been so much pain and trauma and so much misinformation and media this and wars coming out now after COVIDs and all of these things. And that's where the smaller communities comes in again. Is the general feeling that I have is people are, well, yes, peace and joy. But one of the key things that they're looking for is their purpose. Many clients are coming to me, businessmen who've got very successful businesses. I sat with a gent a week ago, and he runs 8 businesses, very successful. He's a young guy, he's an entrepreneur, but he's not happy. He's not fulfilled. He says they're lovely, they're great, but what's my purpose? My purpose can't be, because he's stressed as well, having 8 businesses. My purpose can't be just this. And that's where I then got down, we were talking about his why. And he started speaking to me about his son. And as soon as he started to speak to me about his son, his face changed, his entire body, his physiology changed when he was talking about his 8-year-old son. I said, that's your reason why. You're chasing something else outside. But your son, just look at how you changed. And I didn't realize. So that's why you're doing what you're doing. So make sure that you're around for your son. He said he's never around for his son because he's working all the time. So that's where the priority is. So finding that purpose. Why am I actually here? And that was my own personal journey. Why am I here? What's my role? Surely life has got to be more meaningful. Or as you're getting to your 50s, you're then turning around and saying, but I thought I'd be further ahead in life by now. I don't know which way to go. How do I know which is my true path and which direction? And you spoke about it just now. You said, we need to do this with people. To do this journey alone just doesn't work. Find a coach, find a mentor. And yes, I will actively promote, pay somebody for their expertise. Pay a coach. That's your fast track. Free stuff, great. A lot of free stuff online. Go to YouTube on personal development, breathing. Absolutely brilliant, a lot. But it'll only get you so far. If it was possible to become the best version of yourself by following free videos and free tutorials, Tiger Woods wouldn't have a coach. Neither would any sports stars have it. They'd say, well, I get it all online. No, that'll get you so far. But to get to where you want to actually be, to dive deep down on your issues, pay somebody for speed. You won't. Then they are on your course with you as your mentor, as your accountability partner, as your guide. That's where you start to see the true life changes. But don't trying to do this on your own, especially with all the trauma, anxiety, and tensions and stresses and changes that are going on. You're welcome to, but you may find in 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time, you're going to go back and go, what's actually changed? Have I created the life I want? Because you can't change and create the world you want going into it with the same thinking that got you there in the first place. Einstein, he's got to have some truth there.
Yes, absolutely. And I totally agree. I was an elite table tennis player actually all through my teenage years. I played for Australia for 6 years, and I had not just one coach, I had multiple coaches, and they all had their unique style and of how they coached. And there was different things I picked up from different coaches, and I created my own style from that. However, as an elite athlete, it's absolutely crucial to have at least one coach. And now in business, I have multiple coaches in business as well for many different things. And that's what people say. You either, invest with your time to save money, or you invest your money to save time. And at the end of the day, time is really the most valuable thing. And your health, of course. Once your health goes, that's it as well. So a lot of people, invest their health to get their wealth, and then they invest their wealth to try and get their health back. But of course, we know that the sickness system is not that great out there. And then we know that there's a lot of deaths by doctor error as well. There's over 100,000 deaths per year from doctor error. I've even heard of people, people going into hospital, they're going to get one leg chopped off, and the doctor makes a mistake and chops the healthy leg off. The other, and that kind of thing can happen, right? So you kind of think, well, you have to, in some ways, you have to take your own health in your own hands. You have to do your own research with things. My dad's just been in hospital twice in the last month. He's 86. He's had pulmonary edema. The doctor's given him certain medicines, which he's reacted really badly to. And now he's actually not taking them as regularly as the doctor has said. He's actually, one of them he doesn't take at all. Two of them he's cut right back until he sees a heart specialist to get another opinion. And this is the thing, is your body better than anyone else.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't matter what the doctors say. You know your body better than anyone else. And we've been taught to, to trust the doctors. And I'm sure there's a lot of great doctors out there, and I'm sure they're doing the best they can. And there's certainly a place for, emergencies with doctors. If you break your leg or, you break your arm or something, then, obviously you go to hospital for that. You get some emergency treatment. But if you sort of think back, you think, well, the shamans and the natural medicine doctors from eons ago in so many different cultures that just did things naturally and, had plant medicines and things like that. And there's so much wisdom in many cultures that, can also be tapped into. And so nowadays, a lot more people are using holistic medicine to live their dream life, is to stay as healthy as possible. And because we're not getting the nutrients from our food either. And that's the thing. A lot of people feel run down. They're not having, quality water. We've got things like chemtrails. We've got, there's all sorts of things that are affecting people's quality of health. We've got 5G right now. 5G, I was just researching about that, and oh my gosh, there's some really damaging side effects of 5G. And in fact, I just got a modem and 2 phones sent to me because my 4G has been playing up on my phone. And now I'm going to actually send these back to the shop, back to Vodafone, because I don't want it. I don't want 5G. However, we may be in a position soon that if we don't take on the 5G, that we may not be able to even use phones eventually, right? So now this is the interesting times we're in. So it's important to do your own research with everything, to live your dream life, have a great community around you. What are some other tips you give people to live their dream life?
Trust your instinct. I've had to learn this as well. Trust your gut. Your gut is an intelligence on its own. Your brain isn't the only cognitive thinking machine or part of our muscle, part of our body. Your heart is more so than your brain. Your gut has also got a brain. That's why you say, when you have that feeling, trust your gut, because your gut's telling you a story. But we're not taught to listen to our gut. We're taught to listen to our head. But your conscious thinking brain is only 5% of your activities in a day. 95% is done subconsciously, which is their programmed habits. So I've had to learn this being outside of corporate. Noting in corporate, I was that go-getter, specialist, strategic plan, strategy, everything in line. And I've had to learn coming out to go with the flow. It's a lot more fulfilling, seeing where my path, natural path, is actually leading me. It leads to far more excitement and joy and fulfillment. But I've had to learn to trust my gut. And if I'm not sure of a direction to go or what I should be doing in that moment, I ask the question. Now, whether if you're religious, ask a God. It doesn't matter. If you're spiritual, ask the universe. Ask a question. Which way should I be going? I'm not sure of the answer. And wait with patience and an open mind. And I've had to learn this. And the answer will come to you. A thought, a feeling, something will happen, somebody will be brought into your life, a phone call. It happened with me when I asked the question about how can I be more impactful. Breathwork suddenly arrived. I can't even remember where I met it. And I ended up by studying with these guys because that was the answer to the question I was asking. I didn't know it was going to be breathwork. Anybody had said to me a year and a half ago, Tim, you're going to be running transformational breathwork journeys over Zoom worldwide. What's wrong with you? What is this stuff? Trust your gut. Your body is a most amazing, self-healing, energetic creation ever. It's amazing. what your body can do when you just listen. Listen to it. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. That's what it would be about. Slowing down and listening. And in corporate, when you're that executive, it's very difficult. That's where you need that information and those other people to help you look at things, look at the same things from a different perspective. Change your paradigm. That would be a key lesson.
I love that. And thank you to those who are joining us live. Let us know where you are joining us from. We've got someone on Facebook says, hi, Aldwyn. Hello. We can't see who you are, so let us know either in a comment or allow StreamYard to see your face and name. This Facebook user is saying back to landline, maybe. Yes, maybe back to the landline. That could be a good option. Absolutely. And, I am actually very grateful for technology in many ways. I think it's
if it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be talking now.
Exactly. We wouldn't be connecting right across the world from Australia and South Africa. In fact, we have a lot of South Africans here in Australia as well. I've heard the stories about South Africa and some of the things that go on over there too. And I can imagine there'd be a lot of anxiety for some people in certain parts of South Africa. I've also heard it's a very beautiful country as well. So your continent. It's Kate Denning.
And we played damn good rugby too.
Yes.
On the Rugby World Cup from New Zealand. So yes.
Yes. It's interesting times for sure in the world. And I think, when it comes to living your dream life, I think it's definitely something that's worth, putting a bit of time into, maybe having some quiet time and really reevaluating your life. And, really considering, are you living your dream life right now, or what could you do to move more towards that path? And so if people want to work with you, Tim, what's the process for them to get some coaching from you or work with you?
Ideal would be to set up a time and let's have a connection call, a coffee connection chat, a 30-minute connection, find out where you're at, find out what it is that you're looking for. And let's see if we can't strategize a way forward. I always begin with transformational breath work. So if somebody doesn't have a breathing or a meditative practice, then I do offer introductory sessions as well for this, where you can come in and just experience a 60-minute one, which will give you exactly a good idea of what it's about. Because after all, experience trumps words. So I can tell you all about it, and Aldwyn can tell you her story, and I can share testimonials. But it's important, what does it mean to you? How can it help you? And so I do these periodically, where I do these free sessions so you can start to see what else is possible. And then we work together, depending on what it is that you're looking for. So I believe, Aldwyn, you're putting my website in the chat there, yes, which is great. And on there, you can just click a link to book a 30-minute call with me. You'll find there's also a lot of free stuff on there, some free breath hacks to help you in stressful situations, to calm yourself, to speed yourself up, to help you sleep, that I've got on there too. And I am running, in fact, on Thursday evening. Where are we now? Tuesday now. On Thursday, well, it's evening in South Africa. So Australia, it'll be 4 o'clock. Yeah, I think it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning, which may not be conducive. But if you're not in Australia, you're welcome to register for a free journey. I'm running one it's 8 p.m. South Africa time on Thursday. And in the next few weeks, I will run another one during my time day, Australia time, 8 p.m., which is the best time to have one of these, because then you can just be calm, stay peaceful, go to sleep, and have an absolutely restful sleep. So I will run one again for anybody who's on here. Keep an eye on my social media. Follow me on LinkedIn. I think that would be the other place, is find me on LinkedIn. And
wonderful. Wonderful. I love it. And for those who are tuning in on audio with this, professionalpointer.com is Tim's website. Professionalpointer, POINTER.com is where you'll find all those links. And of course, LinkedIn, just reach out, private message. And in fact, we actually met on an Edward Zia event. So shout out to Ed Zia. Ed Zia does some awesome networking events on Monday and Thursday night. And we have connected through that. And in fact, I met my co-host on Total Truth Show, another one of my shows that I do, through an online networking event through COVID as well. So, where there's challenges, there's always presents opportunities as well. It's the yin yang of life. There's always light where there's darkness, darkness where there's light. And, to have a more inspired life, to be able to attract more of the life of your dreams, I highly recommend you get into gratitude. And a great way to do that is to do the Global Good News Challenge. And this is something you did, Tim, recently. Thank you so much for participating in the Global Good News Challenge. This is a way you can share gratitude and good news. And if you want to join that, it's absolutely free. It's free marketing for you. And just go to Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Pinned to the top is all the details. Today is the last day to do your 10-day challenge for October. You can start anytime between now and the end of each month to do the challenge. And the challenge goes for as long as whatever number month it is. So you could do a 10-day challenge if you start it today and 10 days in a row. If you miss a day, you go back to day one and start again. However, if you miss a day from today, then you're now in November. This will be 11-day challenge for the 11th month, right? So that's the challenge, is to do it every single day. Share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. And then we share it to thousands of people, etc. So check all the details out there, the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. And for those who want to connect with me, you can find all my links at linktree/Aldwyn, linktr.ee/Aldwyn has all my links. I have a 5-day, absolutely free Step Up, Speak Up challenge happening next week, 7 a.m. each day, Monday to Friday. And the link is in there. I also have an amazing event, my 17th annual Animal Action event, which is an Animal Action Day for Aussie wildlife. We have a whole lot of performers, speakers. We have one of the founders of the Seekers, legendary Australian band, Keith Potcher, is going to be flying in from New South Wales to perform at the event. And it's all supporting Aussie wildlife. Everyone's donating their time. It's going to be a fantastic day, November 19, Sunday. And there are a few stalls left as well, and some tickets online as well at Humanitics, which you'll find also the link in my link tree. And I have a brand new webinar coming up as well called Present with Power, which I'm doing with a lady from America who's been an opera singer for 30 years, Elizabeth King, and she's now based in Berlin. And so thanks to the online world, we're able to connect and do an event together coming up November 21. So lots happening on the horizon in the lead up to Christmas, lead up to Christmas. Yes, I missed October. No, you haven't missed October yet, because you can actually start today. So it's still the 31st of October. You've got till midnight today. So depending where you are in the world, so whoever this Facebook user is, you haven't missed October yet. You can start today and do 10 days in a row. It just means you'll be coming into November to finish your 10 days for October. And it's the 10 days, as I say, in a row. That's the discipline, right? It's like the breath work. It's the discipline of continually, getting into the breath work and continually breathing from the nose and practicing that, exercising the muscle of that. And then soon enough, it will just be natural, right? Be natural. And what I find often with the Good News Challenge when I do it is that I don't just share 3 things I'm grateful for. Once I start to share what I'm grateful for, I just keep going, grateful for the weather, live on the Gold Coast, technology, family. There's so much we can be grateful for that we often take for granted. And I encourage you right now, in fact, share in the comments, what are you grateful for today? Let us know what you're grateful for, because this will help bridge the gap to live the life of your dreams. Get into gratitude. It's just one tip that I can share today. And any final words now, Tim? We've been chatting for over an hour. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I'm looking forward to some more breath work with you, which will be fantastic. Absolutely love the experiences I have with you with that. In fact, even listening to you today, I kind of feel like going into a breath work as I'm listening to your relaxing voice, because it's like, I've become used to your voice with the breath work. The guidance.
Taking you back to what it was, how you felt in that moment when you listened last. It's something that, when I was broaching and going outside of my comfort zone a year and a half ago and putting my program together and testing it out and learning all these new modalities and things, it was just a sentence I said to myself continuously every time that I was doubting myself, or I thought, I can't do this, can't do that. And it was quite simple. Do it anyway. I'm not ready. Do it anyway. This is nervous. Do it anyway. I don't know what's going to happen. Do it anyway. That helps you push yourself outside of the comfort zone. And more recently, I've just run last week a workshop entitled The Comfort Zone, how to get yourself outside the comfort zone, where I identify that the comfort zone is the most uncomfortable place you can ever be because it restricts you. So how do you get out? How do you do something different to have that new version of your new personal reality? Do it anyway. Try something new. Do it anyway. Stop listening to the news. Do it anyway. Ah, but I'm going to miss out. Well, why didn't you try? Do it anyway. Need to change my habits of eating. Do it anyway. Stop listening to what's going on in top up here. Listen to what's in here and just try something new. Do it anyway, guys. And then see where it takes you after that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And don't let perfection get in the way of progress, right? So,
not a chance.
Yeah, take that imperfect action and you know, keep challenging yourself, because that's how we grow, right? When we get out of the comfort zone, that's how we grow, expand, evolve, and welcome the challenges in life too, because they all make us stronger, right? They all make us stronger. So thank you so much, Tim, for being our special guest on Media Queen TV today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And please reach out if you have enjoyed this show. Reach out to Tim. You'll find him on LinkedIn. You'll find him at professionalpointer.com. If you haven't subscribed to Media Queen TV yet, you will see some amazing interviews in there, about 1,000 of them, in fact, that I've been doing over the last 10 years, and some phenomenal shows. And if you want support with your media and marketing journey, then reach out as well. You can also book in on my Linktree. You can book in a free connection and clarity call. So if you go back there to the Linktree/Aldwyn, you can book in a call with me there on my calendar and connect wherever you'd like to connect on any of my socials there as well. Do you have a favorite quote or motto, Tim, before we wrap up today? A favorite quote or motto that you like to live by, or a saying? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Lao Tzu said, in whenever it was, many hundreds of years ago, he said, the perfect man breathes without breathing.
Oh, that's deep.
Meaning that if you want to breathe effectively, other people can't actually see that you're breathing. If you notice somebody breathing, it's ill health, stress, something's wrong. So the perfect man breathes without breathing.
I love that.
That one just jumped to mind. It wasn't necessarily one that I live my life by, but you asked, and that's what came out.
That's a beautiful one. I love it. I love it. And my favorite all-time saying is one from Gandhi here, and it's, be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And that's really what it's about, my friends. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you for being a special guest. Thank you for watching or tuning in wherever you are. If you've enjoyed it, pop a like in there. Let us know, what are you grateful for today? What did you enjoy about this show as well? What did you pick up? Do you have some tips also that you would like to share with us on how to live your best life? Let us know in the comments there and share the love. Thank you so much once again. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world. Happy Halloween to you, and here's to a awesome rest of the year. November's just around the corner.
Thank you very much, Aldwyn. Been a pleasure. I love it.